Hey, good morning, church. And I'm really excited to be in church today for two reasons. One, just because I love church, and I think Pastors Philip and Holly are just two of the most sensational people on the planet. So can we give it up for our pastors? And two, I'm glad I just made it to church this morning because my wife, myself, and our 3-year-old boy flew in from a conference literally this morning. And so it's like when you book those tickets, the early flights sound like a great idea. And then you're like, why did I book a 5 a.m.? Not 5:15, not like 5:30 or 5:45, but 5 a.m. flight. And so, and of course we were running a little bit late. So rushing through an airport with a 3.5-year-old and all your luggage, because if you have kids, it's like you have this caravan and like Sherpas and people like helping you. And then we get to the TSA checkpoint. And by the way, does anyone here work for TSA? Just real quick. I just want to make sure we're good. I love you. If you're watching online, you're the best. You're the best. But we proceeded to go through TSA, and I kid you not, they checked every single bag. And, someone's clapping. Why would you clap for it? Yes! Make them pay. I was next to them on the flight. Their kid was crying, Thank you. But like literally every bag would come through, and they're like, bag check on 4. Like, whose bag is this? I'm like, it's mine. And they're like, then a Lightning McQueen backpack goes through. That was mine. And they're like, bag check on 4. Got another bag. And it's like, yeah, that's also mine. And we're also like, we're in this potty training thing. So like we are right now, and we don't want to go back. So we're like only forward for us. And so we're carrying around in this like Nordstrom paper bag, like this potty thing with us. And he's like, bag check? I'm like, you can check that if you want to, bro. That's on you. Consider yourself warned. But they're going through everything, and they're like wiping stuff down and swabbing it. And they're looking for like explosive device things or incendiary, how do you say incendiary? Things that like flare up. And so they're looking for all that. So let me read you this scripture in light of that. It's in Genesis chapter number 30. And we're just going to read two verses here. During the wheat harvest, Reuben went into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, now Rachel and Leah, just a little background, they're both married to the same guy. So work that out with God later. Rachel said to Leah, please give me some of your son's mandrakes. But she said to her, wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too? I said, whoa. Say, Maury. If you've ever had one of those experiences that shape all the subsequent experiences regarding that experience, what I mean is if you've ever had a bad experience regarding one thing, and every time something in the area of that one thing comes up, it triggers that same thought. When I was young, my dad made this soup. And when he was pouring in the pepper, I don't know if it was like a joke someone pulled, but there was like no cap on the pepper. And so as he's pouring the pepper in, the entire contents of the pepper pour into the soup. And so my dad, being a very fiscally responsible adult, instead of throwing out the soup that he was about to feed his kids, he took a spoon and he tried to get all the pepper out. And then he's like, don't worry, guys, I covered it up with salt. So he added salt. So, of course, I ate it as a kid. And then also the next day I got to go home from school because of the sharp stomach pains that were happening in my body. I was like, what could it be, But we've all had those experiences like where someone asks their boss for time off work and the boss doesn't respond in a quick enough fashion, or the boss says no and the person freaks out. Like, no one in this place cares about me. And you're like, whoa, like where did that come from? Just like this story with Rachel and her sister Leah, where she's like freaking out about the mandrake. She's like, you're trying to steal this and you're going after my husband and all this stuff. We all have those things in our hearts where we see someone freak out or we ourselves freak out And someone's like, I didn't think that it was that big of a deal, but the reality is that there's something deeper going on. Now, mandrake is a root here, but we all know the thing is this, is that it's not about the mandrake. When we see people flare up, we see people get upset, it's not about the mandrake. What's actually happened is that there's something explosive on the inside of them, an experience that they haven't dealt with, an issue that they haven't dealt with. And God is so faithful. Here's the reality. God is so faithful that he provides TSA checkpoints in our life. And they say, no, before you go on from this destination right here to the next destination, we got to go through some of this baggage. And God sends people your way, and God sends messages your way, and God sends leaders your way that say, you know what, hey, we got to check this baggage to make sure that there's nothing explosive that's going to cause harm or going to cause damage to you or to other people around you. Because God is trying to get you from here to there. And those explosive baggage things cannot come with you. Now, we were all raised by humans, some of us raised by wolves, but because of that, we all need counseling, right? Some people are just better at hiding it. They can smile a little bit better. Their family looks a little bit like a Hallmark card, and the rest of us, we're just a little bit more, we just call it real. You know, it's just me, you know? But the reality is that we've got to deal with those things that are explosive in our heart, and we have to realize it's not about the mandrakes. So we can utilize opportunities like we have right now and ask God for help, that as God kind of pulls us aside and say, hey, we need to check this thing right here, we say, Jesus, you can remove anything in my baggage that you want.